Welcome on in, golf fans. It's your boy Gsluke here with our value plays for this week's Memorial Tournament. Gonna do a little bit of dumpster diving, try and uncover a few of those diamonds in the rough that we're looking for to help us get some much needed salary savings for our PGA DFS lineups. And on top of that, also try and get some leverage to the field and move up in some of those large field GPPs. These sort of players be priced all over the board, but towards the bottom end of the Draftkings pricing to try and give you guys a few different salary ranges and the types of players that I'm looking for. Some will be towards the $7,900 range, and then our cheapest option that I'll be featuring here will be a whole way down at $6,400. So you'll have an idea of different types of players in my thought process towards the bottom of the board and how I'm going after those high upside outcomes. So without further ado, let's go ahead, get this thing started. First up, we've got ourselves the GOAT, Tom Kim, $7,900. And this, though it's his first time ever playing the Memorial, I think it's going to be a good fit for the young kid. He's got the kind of game you're looking for off the tee, can hit a bunch of fairways, which if I had to choose accuracy or distance around Memorial, I would side towards the accuracy side. And it's a lot, very nuanced subject. I talk about it for a while during our course breakdown. So if you haven't seen that, check it out. But definitely a course where the firm and fast fairways, the amount of penalty you have for missing the short stuff around this track, Muirfield Village, makes up for that. So it's the accuracy over the distance I'm looking for. And outside of that, Tom Kim, great long iron player. So we zoom out, we take a look at the last 36 rounds. You'll see he's gaining in all three tee to green categories, a slight loser with the putter. You take a look at the last 12 measured rounds, well, it's very consistent, right? Still gaining even more significantly with the ball striking stats, and then a slight loser with the putter. What I want to focus on here is the ball striking stats, right? Off the tee and approach have gone a lot better over the last 12 rounds compared to his last 36 round baseline. He's getting more consistent off the tee, starting to go out there, be that ball striking young stud that we saw early on in his PGA Tour career. And I like the upside, I like the momentum, and I don't think a ton of people are going to be on him here. You take a look at some of his recent form, you'll see that it's not outrageous for somebody at his price tag. Missed cut T34, T23 missed cut. So it's not like he's going out there and finishing in the top 15, top 10. So I don't think he's going to get that much steam, especially when you compare that there's a Cam Davis around him. Last week's winner, Emiliano Grillo, they're at, just $100 cheaper, and you have the whole 8K range ahead of him. So hopefully that leads to a little bit of a squeeze in his ownership, and we can get something closer to like the 7 to 10% range onto Tom Kim. That would be outstanding. That would make him one of my top GPP plays of the entire week. And really the only concern I have, the putter, right? That's pretty obvious. He's not been good with the putter since early in his career, but also the experience factor, right? This is a course where you have a lot of undulation on the greens. It's not Augusta-like. It's not even close to that, but it's at least like halfway there when it comes to some of the slopes, the contouring, the creativity that's needed around these surfaces. So that worries me a little bit, but I do think that some people are going to avoid Tom Kim because of those concerns, because of, some of the concerns with the form of late, right? No real top-end finishes, but he's got the upside to get there, right? He goes out there, he ball strikes it like he has over the last month or so, and then he just returns to that electric putter that we know is in him, right? We know that Tom Kim is capable of going out there and lighting it up with the flat stick. I mean, the guy's gained over 8.5 strokes putting in a single event before. I'm not asking for that kind of performance, but even just a marginal gain with the flat stick, and I think we can have that top 5, top 10 finish. So it's a little risky with the lack of experience, but I love the play, and I'm thinking the ownership's going to be there for us as well. Next up, we've got ourselves Brian Harman, another shorter hitter that prioritizes the accuracy over the distance. It's not like I'm only taking accuracy, guys. I want to make that really clear. But the rest of the game of a lot of these more precise players, right, that aren't the bombers off the tee, are kind of what we're looking for at this course. Brian Harman, a fantastic long iron player. Somebody who at some of the longer tracks, even major championship type-like tests, like what we had there at Erin Hills, one of the longer major championship tracks that we've had, literally the last 10-15 years on all of the majors, he still got it done there, nearly won the damn thing. So $7,200, loves bent grass. Whether you take a look at the last 36 or the last 12 measured rounds, it's been decent. You can see the last 36 mostly gaining off the tee. Everything else has been right around a neutral, which isn't great, but it's not horrible, right? He's been rated about average with everything, which is kind of his MO when he's not playing well. And then you take a look at the last 12 measured rounds, And much like the Tom Kims of the world, right, he's trending in that right direction. We're starting to see that ball striking Brian Harman, where he's gaining significantly in both ball striking categories and then right around a neutral with both of the short game categories, which for Brian Harman, he can be streaky with the flat stick, but a lot of his top end finishes, a lot of his spike performances with the putter have come on bent grass historically. So we're getting him at a course that fits him agronomically. He loves the kind of grass that we're going to have out there. And though he's not a bomber, right? I know it's a long course, nearly 7,600 yards. He's gone and done it, these kind of tracks before, particularly when they reward the accuracy off the tee, right? You know, if it's a Oak Hill, for example, if it's a Torrey Pines where even when you miss offline, you can get away with it, that doesn't benefit Brian Harman as much as when you have the little creeks that you have around this track. You have that deep rough that has the highest missed fairway penalty of any track on the PGA Tour. That's the kind of track that I like taking Brian Harman at and why I think he's such an excellent play here. In terms of ownership, he might get some, right? The event history was there. He did play here last year, finished T18, so I don't think he's going to be completely ignored. Again, the ball striking stats have been there over the last 12 rounds, so you're not going to be the only one that likes Brian Harman this week, but I don't see him getting over the 10% mark when it comes to ownership. So he'll still be somebody I'm willing to get that leverage to. At the halfway point, I'm going to remind you, if you're looking for all of my picks, all of the projections, modeling, ownership, player poll that I'm posting on all of these spreadsheets, everything that's blacked out, make sure to check out my Patreon page. There's a link down below. That's where I'm posting all these spreadsheets as they update throughout the week. We've got extra content in the Discord down there, you know, a lot of course analysis when I'm actually at events, which I will be for the US Open soon, so that'll be in there, and then all my prop stuff too. So make sure to check it out. It's a fun community. Down in the Discord, we have a good time with it, sweat out our bets, and it's a good time. I mean, hopefully make a little money when you're at it too. Last week was a print fest for us, especially over there for props. And of course, with our second place finish in GBPs, it wasn't horrible either. Let's move on to Hayden Buckley. We've got $7,000 Hayden Buckley. And last week, I was a vocal fade of good old Hayden, right? I was telling people that I thought he was getting steamed up, right? He was not worthy of being chalk in that 7K range, and he missed the cut, right? So that was a good fade for us. Now, I think because people got burned by him, because the shots gained metrics don't look as good as they did last week, we might get that same like 7 to maybe 10% owned Hayden Buckley, maybe like 5% lower owned than what he was last week. And I think this is a better course fit for him. He's a player that gains a bunch of strokes off the tee. It's not because he hits the ball country mile. It's because he hits a ton of fairways and he's above average with his distance. Well, at Memorial, at Muirfield Village, that is the perfect combination off the tee. That is what we want because these firm and fast fairways are going to make him hit it even further. I mean, this guy, if he's locked in off the tee, could be your number one or at least in the top 5 players on shots gained off the tee this week. Up there with your Cam Champs, your Rory McIlroys of the world, John Rahm, Scotty Schefflers. He's that type of player off the tee. He's that good with the driver. So last week, I think a lot of people wanted to play him at Colonial, thought he'd hit driver a little bit more, but unfortunately, that's a track where you can't really hit driver all that often. Fortunately for Buckley, around Muirfield Village, you're going to hit driver on at least 12, if not 13 of your 18 holes out there, which is perfect for him. He's a gainer with the approach play. He's a gainer with the putter. You take a look at the last 12 measured rounds, which again includes an ugly missed cut. He's still gaining close to 2/3 of a stroke per round, both off the tee and on approach. Then the putter's still been a positive too. So I worry about around the green. I worry about him getting out of position. I don't think that Buckley's going to win this golf tournament because of that, right? It's going to hold him back if he gets into crunch time. Even the best players at Muirfield Village on approach are still only hitting like 14 greens per round. So I worry about that, but he's only $7,000. I mean, we realistically need like a top 15 at the very least for him to get it close to that optimal lineup, which he could still do, right? If he bleeds 3-4 strokes around the green, so be it. But it's all about that ball striking ability, all about that putter that can get hot as well. Bent grass, not his favorite surface, but now we're getting Buckley at half the ownership as last week. And because he can hit driver a lot more, I think it's a much better fit for him, right? That's where he gains almost all of his strokes. So you'd hope he'd be able to hit that club a little bit more often. Next up, we've got ourselves Sepp Straka. He's $6,600. Oh, I thought he was $6,400. So miscalculation there when it comes to the price. But this guy has been striping it, right? Pretty much no matter what sample you look at the last 36 measured rounds, is about a neutral with everything, but on approach, a huge gainer. You take a look at the last 12 measured rounds, so we zoom in a little bit, right? Still gaining with a bunch with the approach, and then right around a neutral with everything else. Sepp's not going to surprise you, right? At least from the shots gained perspective, if you're looking at like at least a couple tournament sample size, it's always going to be about the iron play for Sepp. And at another Nicklaus design down here in South Florida, PGA National, Honda Classic, you guys may remember, he loves the damn course. It's all about the iron play. Off the tee, it's about hitting fairways, which Sepp Straka can do in bunches. He's shown that, especially when he prioritizes the accuracy. He can go out there, hit 80, 85% of fairways, like he does around PGA National pretty much every single year, and then lead into that unbelievable iron play. I mean, last 36 rounds, he's getting 0.8 strokes per round. That's elite level stuff. No one else is doing that. I mean, Eric Cole 0.6, that's pretty sweet, right? I mean, Buckley was playing pretty well, but no one's got those same kind of numbers except for Gary Woodland, right? Who's $1,000 more expensive, and he's chalky up there. And then you got yourselves good old, $6,600 Sepp Straka. Lovely. Gotta like that, right? Especially when he played well at some of the comp courses I'm looking at. He's, the shots gained metrics speak for themselves. He's number 31 in the total model, 18 in terms of course fit. The event history exists too, which was surprising to me. He's at least played here before. T45 last year, right? Missed the cut and then finished in 61st back there 3 years ago. So I know it's not great history, but at least he's played here, right? Like, unlike a Tom Kim, unlike a Hayden Buckley that don't have the experience around this track. I meant to mention that with Buckley, another player that doesn't have that experience to draw off of. He at least has that, and he's $6,600. I don't know about his ownership right now. It's honestly one of the more muddling ownership projections that I can think of right now. I'm hoping that he's going to be like 5 to 7% owned, because if so, he's going to be one of the best plays on the slate. If he starts to get a ton of ownership, like 10% plus, he probably should, truth be told. Like, he's such a good play for the price. He probably should be getting a ton of ownership. Then we'll have to probably consider a fade, but at least as of right now, where I have his ownership projection in check, going to be all over the good old guy Sepp Straka this week. So hopefully he leans into that difficult course skill set and go out there, succeed. Let's look at the recent form. It's worth looking at with Sepp. You see T29, T7. I mean, this guy should be chalk, right? He's playing well. He fits the damn golf course. He's hitting the ball pretty much the best on approach of anyone in the field, especially in this range. And I'll definitely have him in quite a few of my lineups. That is all I've got for the value plays video. Before you're hopping out of here, smash that like button for me, but also comment down below your top value play priced $8,000 and below on Draftkings. For me, I'm going to go with Sepp Straka, right? I told you the shots gained look great. He's great at some of the comp courses we're looking at, and hopefully is low owned. Another little aside, if you have a take on the Sepp Straka ownership, I would love to hear it down in chat. Like, I think he should be chalky, but based on the content I'm watching, based on a lot of the different projections around the industry, I'm not sure if he's going to be chalky like I think he should. So if you think he's going to be like 10% plus owned, would love to hear it. If you think he's maybe going to be even lower owned than I think, and I'm honestly in like the 5 to 7% range right now, would love to hear that as well. Best of luck with those DFS lineups. Best of luck with any outright bets you guys decide to go with. We'll be doing our weekly live stream tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern time, so make sure to bring any questions you've got by that. We'll be going over the weather there, some chalk, props, everything that we typically do to get you ready for this week. So hopefully we can improve on that second place performance that we had in the GPP and take home first place this time around. That wouldn't suck. So like I said, guys, should be a fun week, and I'll catch you guys next time for our fades and sleepers video.